Good afternoon, dear friends. We continue our daily review of the situation on the front. Before you start watching, please subscribe to the channel and put a like, so more people will know the truth. Today, as promised, we will analyze the situation in Pokrovsk, Toretsk, Chasov Yar and other directions of the front. The front slowly begins to move, and not in favor of the armed forces of Ukraine. I would like to remind you that the VSU has transferred reserves here, including from the southern parts of the country. Because of this, the front in the south has already begun to collapse. We dealt with this in detail yesterday. In brief, the Ukrainian armed forces have already lost up to 40 kilometers of territory and the village of Ugledar. Now there is fighting, and the situation is actually critical. In Constantinople there is also a slump in the front, as well as in the area of Velika Novosayolka, where Novosayolka has already been taken under control by Russian troops. In addition, there is an advance towards Volnoy Pali and Balitskoy, as well as the battle for Novurenburg is coming to an end. The AFU expected that the transfer of reserves to the Pokrovsk area would help them defeat the Mordvichev grouping, but nothing happened. There were local successes, but they have already been leveled. The AFU could not dislodge Russian troops from populated areas and even could not stop their advance. Yes, the offensive here is hard and slow, but it continues. The map shows that Russian troops have already reached the center of the settlement and are approaching its western outskirts. By the way, from Yudaknoy to Dnipropetrovsk region is only 3 km. The AFU even could not enter the village, although there were rumors that they allegedly knocked out Russian troops. However, this is complete disinformation. According to both American and Ukrainian maps ***, the AFU never even entered Kotlino. Yes, there was information that they entered the industrial zone and there is fighting there, but there is no confirmation of this yet. If there is video evidence, I'll be sure to report it. The only place where the AFU has managed to get something is the village of Peskanoy ***. There is a fierce battle here, a real bloodbath. The AFU almost took the village at the peak of their offensive, but at a critical moment, Russian troops held the southern edge of the industrial zone. As a result, the AFU now hold only the center and northern outskirts of Peskanoy. At the moment, not only the southern part, but the entire industrial zone of Peskanoy is again under the control of Russian troops. In addition, the Russian troops have managed to take control of part of the village. The AFU successfully took control of the entire eastern part of the village, as well as going into the center. Now only a few houses on the outskirts of Pokrovsk remain under AFU control. That is, the result of several days of the Ukrainian armed forces offensive was not the defeat of Mordvichev's group, but only significant gains, which, in fact, have already been leveled. Moreover, of the small territories that the Ukrainian armed forces managed to occupy, half of them have already been lost. But in fact, Ukraine's losses are even greater, because it is important to consider where the reserves were taken from. As mentioned earlier, they were transferred from the south, and there the AFU lost significant territories, several settlements and strategically important positions. The situation in the eastern direction is much more dynamic than in the western direction ***. Russian troops are making daily gains, as evidenced by recent developments. The village of Toroy Vodianoy has been taken. The village of Berezovka has been taken. The village of Zelino Pole was taken. The southern part of Tarasovka village was captured and then reached the outskirts of the village. This is a key village as it is located along a body of water and plays an important role in the strategic layout. It is not worth expecting a quick end to the fighting for Tarasovka, because the AFU is well aware of the consequences of a possible breakthrough by the Russian army. If defenses in this area collapse, the AFU will find itself in an extremely difficult position. The map shows that after Tarasovka towards the village of Yablonevka, 10 kilometers of open space. There are no settlements, no natural obstacles, no serious fortifications, trenches or concrete structures. This means that the Russian army could quickly advance and pose a global threat to the entire Ukrainian grouping south of this area. If the Russian forces break this section of defense, a full-scale cauldron will take place west of Kurakovo, and the scale of encirclement will be many times larger than in previous directions. Then the losses of the AFU will be catastrophic. That is why the AFU is preparing to fight for Terasovka to the last. At the moment it is the main defense node on the eastern flank of Pokrovsk. The only unstable section in this area is the village of Elizavetovka, where Russian troops have already entered but were knocked out. Now there are new attempts to gain a foothold in this settlement, but so far without success. In this direction, some statements about serious successes of the Russian army have appeared. For example, the day before yesterday Denis Pushilin said that the Klyon-Buike landscape park located 3.5 kilometers from Toretsk had been taken under control. However, there is no confirmation of objective control yet, although fierce fighting is indeed taking place in the area. The fighting is focused on the western flank of Toretsk, in particular in Shcherbanovka and Petrovka. After the fall of key positions, the defending forces of the AFU were redeployed here, making local fighting extremely fierce. Unlike in other directions, the advance of Russian troops here is measured not in kilometers, but in meters. While there are no serious changes in Shcherbanovka ***, in Petrovka Russian troops have advanced 600 meters in the last 2 days, taking residential buildings under their control. In the area of Chasov Yar, Russian troops are continuing to advance. Yesterday there were reports of Russian units entering one of the settlements near the town and starting fighting. This is an important development, as there are only 5 kilometers of highway to Konstantinovka. If the offensive continues, it will be extremely difficult to hold this city. In the area of Belagorovka, Russian troops have significantly advanced, and more than half of the settlement is now under their control. On the right bank of the Zarabets River, Russian troops have crossed the last kilometer before the village of Kolodizy and reached its western edge. This is a key point, as after Kolodizy the way to Lyman is practically open. After that there is only one small village left, and then only fields. Thus, Kolodizy remains the last serious obstacle on the way to Lyman. After the taking of Sverdlikov by Russian troops, the AFU made several attempts to retake the village, but all attacks were successfully repulsed. Building on their success, Russian units began advancing along the Lokhnya River valley, north to Lebedyovka, south to Novinkoy. Thus, the flanks are strengthened and conditions for further offensive are created. In addition, after the elimination of the AFU breakthrough in the area of Cherkasskaya Konopelka, Russian troops south of Sudzha resumed offensive operations in the area of Kurilovka and Guva. No substantial changes here so far, but there will definitely be news on this direction. Here Russian units are methodically occupying new positions, using tactics of destroying Ukrainian strongholds with the help of drones. This method has proved effective and is already being used on other parts of the front. Among the latest achievements: access to the outskirts of Kondrashovka, moving south towards Tishchenka and Radkovka. Beyond these settlements Kupiansk begins, and Ukrainian commanders already realize the threat. By the way, because of this the mayor of the city threw a tantrum yesterday, but by the looks of it he won't have long to live. The city will be liberated soon. On February 19 the Russian offensive in the Lyman direction slowed down. It has not yet been possible to break through the AFU's defenses in the Kolodizy area, and activity in secondary areas has not yielded strategic success. As a result, the Russian armed forces were only able to occupy small settlements, which does not seriously affect the overall course of hostilities. As I noted earlier, without changes in command and tactics, even with significant superiority in resources, it is extremely difficult to achieve decisive successes. The Lyman and Borovskoy directions clearly confirm this. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like, and see you soon.